Hello Golden State Warriors fans. We are here once again to bring you the latest news related to our team, and I would like to emphasize how committed we are to improving our performance to achieve great results. Before we dive into this intriguing news, I kindly request you to show your support by clicking the like button, and if you are not yet subscribed to our channel, I invite you all to join us on an exciting journey. Remember to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything.
The Golden State Warriors must revisit their elite lineup once Stephen Curry returns, even without Jonathan Kuminga. The Golden State Warriors are hitting a rough patch after what initially looked like a promising start to the season. After winning 4 of their first 5 games, the Warriors have now managed just 1 victory in their last 4. Losses to a Giannis-less Bucks team, an injury-depleted Pacers squad, and the ever-dangerous Sacramento Kings have exposed some serious cracks in their armor. The team's veteran core is clearly showing signs of fatigue. Stephen Curry is sidelined with illness, missing the matchup against Denver, while Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler continue to battle through physical setbacks. Last season's most effective lineup, statistically one of the league's elite defensive units, has yet to take the court together consistently this year. But when Curry is healthy again, and both Butler and Green return to full strength, the numbers suggest the Warriors already have the formula to regain their identity. They just need to trust it. Last season, Steve Kerr's most dominant lineup featured Curry, Brandon Podziemski, Butler, Moses Moody, and Green. That group produced a staggering plus 17.9 net rating and an elite defensive rating of 103.1. For context, the Oklahoma City Thunder led the league last year at 106.6, meaning the Warriors' best unit actually defended at a championship caliber level. Despite that success, injuries, particularly to Moody, prevented Kerr from leaning on that lineup consistently. Now that everyone is nearing full health, Kerr faces a clear challenge. He must prioritize that combination again, even if it means making some uncomfortable sacrifices. Reviving the Elite Five likely means moving Jonathan Kuminga to the bench, despite his impressive start to the season. Kuminga's production is up across the board, scoring, assists, and rebounds, and he's become a more confident three-point shooter. Still, his outside efficiency trails Moody's, and his defensive consistency remains a work in progress. For a team chasing cohesion and stability, that matters. Another tough decision, benching Al Horford once again. The veteran big man simply hasn't provided the impact many hoped for, especially on the defensive end. Removing him from the starting lineup may be tough emotionally, but it makes basketball sense. These adjustments could also affect rookie center Quinton Post, who might see his role reduced after earning minutes as a starter. Yet the defensive data is hard to ignore. This version of the Warriors just isn't maximizing its potential on that end. Through 9 games, Golden State ranks 10th in defensive efficiency, a noticeable drop from last season's 7th-place finish. The decline underscores a truth Kerr and the coaching staff can't overlook. The current rotation isn't bringing out the team's best. When Curry returns, it's time to bring back what worked. The Warriors don't need to reinvent themselves. They just need to trust the lineup that already proved it can dominate. Beyond the tactical concerns, the Warriors' current struggles raise broader questions about their long-term direction. The team that once set the standard for modern basketball now finds itself in transition, still armed with championship experience but increasingly reliant on unproven depth. Internal conversations around rotations and development have reportedly intensified within the organization. According to sources close to the team, Steve Kerr and his staff are balancing 2 competing priorities: remaining competitive in a crowded Western Conference and developing younger players like Kuminga, Podziemski, and Moody for the future. The challenge is finding a lineup that supports both objectives without compromising chemistry or defensive structure. There's also the question of offensive identity. Even before Curry's illness, the Warriors' scoring efficiency had dipped compared to last season. Their three-point percentage remains respectable, but the fluid ball movement that once defined Golden State's dynasty has shown signs of stagnation. Too often, the offense slows into isolation plays or hurried late-clock possessions, particularly when Curry sits. Draymond Green's absence has amplified those issues. His playmaking and defensive communication remain the glue that holds the Warriors' system together. Without him directing traffic on defense and facilitating the offense at the top of the key, Golden State's rhythm often collapses. The same is true for Jimmy Butler, whose two-way leadership brought a physical edge to last year's elite lineup. The ripple effects are already visible in the standings. With the Western Conference deeper than ever, featuring emerging contenders like Oklahoma City, Minnesota, and Sacramento, Any stretch of inconsistency could have lasting playoff implications. For a franchise accustomed to measuring success by titles, merely competing for a play-in spot would be a step backward. Front office patience, however, remains measured. Team executives have repeatedly emphasized continuity and trust in the current roster, despite external speculation about potential trades or mid-season adjustments. There is a shared understanding that when healthy, the Warriors' core still has the capability to compete at the highest level, but health and cohesion have become rarer commodities than talent itself. The upcoming schedule could provide the team with a chance to recalibrate. With matchups against the Trailblazers, Spurs, and Hornets ahead, the Warriors have a brief window to regain rhythm before facing top-tier opponents again. For Kerr, that stretch might serve as the testing ground to reintroduce last season's elite lineup, the one that blended defensive toughness with unselfish offense. If that combination can restore balance and confidence, the Warriors' early season turbulence may be remembered as a temporary stumble rather than a defining collapse. But if the struggles persist, questions about rotation choices, player roles, and the sustainability of the dynasty will only grow louder. In the end, the Warriors' future may hinge less on new strategies and more on rediscovering the chemistry that once made them unstoppable. For now, the blueprint is already in their hands. They just need to use it. Steve Kerr says Warriors' standout against Suns is earning his spot in the starting lineup. After the Golden State Warriors' much-needed win over the Phoenix Suns, head coach Steve Kerr didn't hesitate to single out one young player who's been quietly forcing his way back into the spotlight. Golden State snapped its recent losing skid with an important victory over the Suns, a win that came without Jimmy Butler, and with several key players still unavailable. It wasn't a perfect performance, but for a team searching for momentum, it was the kind of gritty result that can reset a season. With the Warriors' veteran core battling injuries and inconsistency early in the year, the spotlight has naturally shifted toward the younger members of the roster. Stephen Curry has publicly challenged the team's up-and-comers to take more ownership, and one player in particular has answered that call. That player is Moses Moody, and on Tuesday night, he earned every bit of Steve Kerr's praise. Speaking after the game, Kerr called Moody the player of the night for his defensive effort on Suns star Devin Booker and his timely shooting down the stretch. The coach emphasized that Moody's recent performance was not just a response, it was a statement. "I thought the bench was fantastic," Kerr said. "Moses was the player of the game tonight. His defense on Booker, his shooting, he was incredible. He's finally found his rhythm after missing most of training camp with that ankle issue. It's been a tough start for him." Kerr went on to explain that Moody's early season injury cost him valuable time and, as a result, his place in the starting rotation. But the young guard's recent form has reignited the competition for minutes. "We found a different starting group while he was out, and things were going well," Kerr continued. "But he's really forcing his way back in. And he's doing it the hard way, through defense, hustle, and quiet consistency." Moody's performance against Phoenix was his second standout showing of the season. He put up 24 points against the Suns after scoring 20 against the Grizzlies earlier in the week, all while maintaining his trademark composure and defensive intensity. Through 6 games, he's averaging 10.5 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 1.3 assists, but his true impact goes well beyond the stat sheet. What's clear is that Moody isn't just filling minutes, he's shaping the Warriors' identity in a period of transition. As Golden State navigates an increasingly competitive Western Conference and a roster filled with aging stars, players like Moody represent both the present and the future. His effort, focus, and maturity have not only impressed the coaching staff but also earned respect in the locker room. Kerr's message was unmistakable: spots in the Warriors' rotation aren't given, they're earned. And right now, Moses Moody is earning his. If he continues on this trajectory, the young guard could soon evolve from a promising role player into a foundational piece of Golden State's next era, one built on resilience, defense, and a renewed hunger to compete. Moody's resurgence couldn't come at a more critical moment for Golden State. With the team still adjusting to lineup inconsistencies and the physical toll of an aging core, his rise has injected much-needed energy and accountability into the rotation. Inside the Warriors' locker room, players and coaches alike have acknowledged how Moody's approach, patient, professional, and team-oriented, has quietly set an example for others. While some young players grow frustrated with limited minutes, Moody has chosen to stay ready, embracing the philosophy that opportunities are earned through preparation. Several teammates, including Stephen Curry and Draymond Green, have praised his maturity. According to team sources, Curry has often highlighted Moody's focus in practice, calling him a worker who stays locked in no matter the circumstances. That consistency has started to pay off, particularly on the defensive end. Against the Suns, Moody's ability to contain Devin Booker was a turning point. Booker, who entered the matchup averaging over 27 points per game, shot just 38% from the field when guarded by Moody. Kerr and the coaching staff have long viewed Moody as one of the team's most disciplined on-ball defenders, and his effort against Phoenix reaffirmed that belief. Beyond defense, Moody's improved spacing and decision-making have begun to open the floor for Curry and the Warriors' motion offense. His 24-point outing wasn't just a scoring outburst, it reflected growing trust from his teammates, who repeatedly looked for him in key possessions. Still, Kerr faces a delicate balance moving forward. Integrating Moody back into the starting lineup could mean reducing minutes for more established players, potentially shifting rotations that have been in place since the start of the season. But with Jimmy Butler still sidelined and Jonathan Kuminga's role fluctuating, Golden State may not have the luxury of hesitation. Internally, the Warriors' coaching staff sees this as a turning point, not just for Moody, but for the team's broader evolution. Kerr has made it clear that performance, not reputation, will determine playing time this year. That approach reflects a growing awareness that the Warriors can no longer rely solely on the veteran trio of Curry, Green, and Butler to carry them through a full season. League observers have also taken notice. Several analysts have suggested that Moody's growing confidence could reshape the team's mid-season outlook, both on the court and in potential trade discussions. While the Warriors have no plans to move young talent, Moody's emergence adds depth and stability at a time when consistency has been hard to find. As the schedule intensifies and the Western Conference race tightens, Kerr's willingness to trust his younger players may define the Warriors' season. For Moody, the message remains simple: stay prepared, stay disciplined, and let performance speak louder than status. The Warriors have built their dynasty on unselfishness, adaptability, and internal growth. Now, as the roster transitions into a new era, those same principles may be what guide them forward. And if the win over Phoenix was any indication, Moses Moody might just be the bridge between the team's storied past and its uncertain, but promising future. Steve Kerr says Jonathan Kuminga and the Warriors must learn from their mistakes. The Golden State Warriors are off to a bumpy start this season. After a blazing hot beginning, they've cooled down, now sitting at 5-4 after dropping 3 of their last 4 games. Their most recent loss, a 121-116 defeat to the Sacramento Kings, was a tough one to swallow. Despite a strong performance, including a triple-double from Russell Westbrook, the Warriors couldn't quite get over the hump. Head coach Steve Kerr made it clear after the game: Jonathan Kuminga and the rest of the squad need to learn from these moments, especially when it comes to valuing every single possession. Jonathan attacked, played aggressively, and gave a fantastic effort, Kerr said. But the lesson for him, and for our team, is understanding how important each possession is. I thought the game shifted with a few turnovers midway through the second quarter. The Warriors were short-handed against the Kings. Stephen Curry missed the game due to illness, Jimmy Butler sat out with lower back soreness, and Draymond Green was sidelined with a right rib contusion. That meant the young core had to step up, and they did. Kuminga posted 24 points and 9 rebounds, while Will Richard added 30 and Moses Moody dropped 28. Still, it wasn't enough to seal the win. The team's 18 turnovers proved costly. Despite the loss, Kuminga continues to show encouraging progress this season. After signing a new 2-year deal just before the season tipped off, he's quickly proving his worth. There's been plenty of speculation about his future, with trade eligibility opening up after January 15th, but Kuminga is keeping his focus where it belongs, on the court. So far, he's averaging 17.2 points, 7.1 rebounds, and 3.1 assists, shooting 51.4% from the field in just over 30 minutes per game. His energy, athleticism, and growing confidence are giving the Warriors a glimpse of what their future might look like. Now it's all about consistency, and learning from those growing pains. If Kuminga and the Warriors can tighten up the details, there's no doubt they'll find their rhythm again soon. The loss to Sacramento raised familiar questions about Golden State's depth and their ability to close games without their veteran leaders. While the young players continue to show flashes of potential, Kerr emphasized that the team's margin for error has become much thinner this season. Without Curry's leadership on the floor, the Warriors' offense often struggled to find rhythm, leaning heavily on isolation plays and fast break opportunities rather than the fluid ball movement that once defined their dynasty years. Kerr acknowledged that the team's identity is still a work in progress. We've got to rediscover who we are as a group, Kerr explained. It's not just about scoring or defending, it's about playing with purpose and trust. The young guys are learning that every decision matters, especially when the game tightens up. Kuminga's performance has become a bright spot amid the team's early inconsistency. His growing assertiveness on both ends of the floor has drawn attention not only from teammates but also from analysts across the league. Many see this as a pivotal year for the 21-year-old forward, a season that could define his long-term role with the Warriors. Several players have echoed Kerr's message about discipline and accountability. Draymond Green, speaking to reporters after practice, praised Kuminga's progress but noted that the next step for the young core is maintaining focus under pressure. "You can see the growth," Green said. "JK's attacking, rebounding, defending, doing everything we've asked. But as a team, we've got to stop giving games away. It's about locking in and finishing strong." The Warriors' upcoming schedule doesn't offer much relief. They face a tough stretch of opponents, including back-to-back games against the Denver Nuggets and Dallas Mavericks, followed by a rematch with Sacramento. For Kerr, these challenges present an opportunity to test his team's resilience and adaptability. Golden State's coaching staff has also hinted at potential adjustments to the rotation. With Andrew Wiggins struggling to find consistency and Chris Paul managing his minutes, Kerr may continue to rely on Kuminga and Moses Moody for extended stretches. That shift could accelerate the team's transition into a new era, one where the young core gradually takes on a larger share of responsibility. Internally, the message remains clear. The Warriors believe they can compete at a high level, but only if they clean up their mistakes and tighten their execution in critical moments. "It's all part of the process," Kerr added. "We've been through ups and downs before. What matters is how we respond." As the season unfolds, all eyes will remain on Kuminga, not just for his numbers, but for his ability to grow into the kind of player who can carry the torch for the next generation of Warriors basketball. Steve Kerr responds to Al Horford's rough start. "It was to be expected." Steve Kerr isn't sounding the alarm just yet. After another tough night for Al Horford, who missed all 8 of his field goal attempts in the Warriors' loss to the Sacramento Kings, the Golden State coach offered a calm, measured perspective on the veteran's early struggles. Horford, one of the Warriors' biggest off-season additions, joined the team to fill the void left by Kevin Looney. But with the 40-year-old center off to a rocky start, shooting just 20.8% from three-point range, 5-for-24 so far, questions are naturally beginning to surface. Kerr, however, insists that patience is key. "I actually thought Al played a great game tonight," Kerr said. "The shots just didn't fall. He took the right looks, and they all felt good coming out of his hands. They'll start dropping. He's Al Horford. We know exactly who he is." Horford's early slump doesn't seem to worry his coach, who emphasized that adapting to a new system and teammates often takes time, even for seasoned veterans. "It's a slow start, sure," Kerr continued. "But that's to be expected when you're joining a new team and learning new tendencies. I'm not worried about Al at all. His defense, his rebounding, his leadership, those things are already showing." The decision to bring in Horford came with calculated risk. Golden State's roster already leans heavily on experience, with Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green all over 35. Adding another veteran could have compounded concerns about age and stamina, but Kerr saw Horford's intelligence and versatility as the perfect stabilizer for the Warriors' second unit. Still, the adjustment period has been bumpy. Kerr has had to experiment with new rotations, balancing Horford's minutes and occasionally testing smaller, faster lineups. Those changes have been both a necessity and a challenge for a team that struggled with consistency last season. At this stage of his career, Horford isn't expected to be a nightly double-double threat or the team's anchor at center. Kerr made it clear that the veteran's role will be situational, based on matchups and lineup flow rather than status. "Al brings experience and poise, but we're going to keep our flexibility," Kerr said. "We'll use him in the right moments. That's what this team needs." Even so, the Warriors need more from Horford on the offensive end. Going 0-for-8 from the field is tough for any player, but especially for someone of his caliber. His ability to space the floor and knock down open shots will be crucial to the Warriors system, particularly when Curry sits. Horford, ever the professional, hasn't made excuses. After the loss, he took full responsibility for his poor shooting night and reaffirmed his commitment to finding rhythm. "I just have to keep working," Horford said quietly in the locker room. "The looks are there. I'm not going to change my approach. The shots will fall. The Warriors believe him. And for a franchise built on patience, trust, and long-term vision, that belief might be exactly what Al Horford needs to turn things around. The conversation around Horford's early season form has started to grow louder within league circles. Analysts have pointed out that his current shooting slump mirrors a trend seen in several veteran players who join new systems late in their careers. It takes time to recalibrate to different tempos, spacing, and responsibilities. For Horford, the challenge is not only physical but also tactical. Golden State's offensive system relies heavily on constant movement, quick decisions, and seamless chemistry. That rhythm takes months, sometimes longer, to fully grasp, even for players as intelligent as Horford. Draymond Green acknowledged as much after the game, defending his new teammate while highlighting what Horford already brings to the locker room. AL's one of the smartest players in this league, Green said. He's figuring out our system, and that doesn't happen overnight. What people don't see is how much he's communicating, how he helps organize our defense, how calm he is under pressure. That stuff matters. Inside the organization, there's a clear understanding that Horford's value extends far beyond his shooting percentages. The coaching staff has praised his mentorship of younger players like Jonathan Kuminga and Tracy Jackson-Davis, both of whom have leaned on the veteran for guidance in positioning and defensive reads. Kerr, known for emphasizing culture and leadership, views Horford's presence as a long-term investment in the team's stability. AL's not just here for what he does on the court, Kerr explained. He brings professionalism, perspective, and a level of maturity that's invaluable to a team trying to blend experience with youth. Still, results will matter sooner rather than later. The Warriors, hovering around the middle of the Western Conference standings, can't afford prolonged inefficiency from key rotation pieces. Horford's shooting touch will need to come around, especially with the team facing upcoming games against physically imposing frontcourts like Denver's Nikola Jokic and Minnesota's Rudy Gobert. The pressure, however, isn't fazing Horford. Throughout his career, he's built a reputation for steady composure and accountability, traits that earned him respect during his years in Boston and Philadelphia. "I've been through stretches like this before," Horford said after Thursday's practice. "You just stay with it. I know what I'm capable of. My job is to help this team win in any way I can." Within the Warriors' locker room, that mindset resonates. Younger players see Horford's response as a model of professionalism. No panic, no excuses, just work. For Kerr, that example might be just as valuable as any three-pointer Horford eventually hits. "Every player hits a wall at some point," Kerr said. "But the great ones find ways to push through. That's what AL's doing, and that's why I trust him." As the Warriors navigate the challenges of a grueling early season schedule, the hope is that Horford's patience and discipline will begin to pay off. If his shot returns, as history suggests it will, the narrative could shift quickly. For now, Golden State is standing firm behind its veteran addition, confident that the early struggles are just a temporary chapter in what they believe will be a meaningful contribution over the long haul.